So borders might be open for international tourists, but the tourism minister believes that part of the market will only recover in around 2 years' time. The Minister of Tourism, Mamoloko Kubayi-Ngubane, concluded her two-day visit to the Northern Cape today. She was there for the provincial launch of the domestic travel campaign. She believes local tourists could be the saving grace for the tourism industry. Let's get more now. Bring in our reporter, Ulrich Hendriks. He's covering the story for us. Ulrich, a very good morning to you. What's happening where you are? Talk to us about the minister's views in terms of international tourists, in terms of local tourists, and where does she see the light at the end of this tunnel?
Well, Blaine, we're at the Ograbis National Park. Of course, this is one of the most spectacular sites here in the Northern Cape, called by Ograbis by the local Nama people, meaning the place of great noise, which you can certainly hear. The water has been thundering down here for the past month or so, quite a spectacle. And I'm very sure that the minister is quite happy to see that a number of tourists have been coming here since we started here this morning. But Minister, let's talk about the recovery of the tourism sector. You're saying that the borders are open, but you don't expect that international share of international tourists, not yet this year.
No, definitely we've opened the borders. You'd note that one of the issues that affected us is when South Africa announced that there was a variant that came up within South Africa, and that made a lot of international tourists more cautious, and countries almost starting to isolate South Africa. So as we do the work of explaining how we are managing the pandemic in the country, rebuilding confidence in our international markets, we do note that it's going to take us a bit of some time to regain the numbers that we had in terms of 2019, which was more around 10.2 million of international travelers arriving in South Africa. If you look at international bodies, they talk about at least the recovery fully in 2023. So our backbone currently of our recovery remains domestic tourism.
And certainly we're seeing quite a number of domestic tourists coming here. An interesting fact that you mentioned again yesterday was when the beach ban was put in place, the Northern Cape's beaches were open, but people didn't know, for example, that the Northern Cape has beaches. And so a lot of marketing that you can do for provinces like the Northern Cape.
I think many people, that's why we chose to come here as part of our work to market, to show South Africans what the country has to offer. As we say this weekend, that Explore Northern Cape, one of the most beautiful sites that I know many South Africans don't know about, this waterfall, Ograbis. So that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to say to South Africans, kindly explore your country. It's such a beautiful place. We have beaches, yes indeed. A lot of people actually got shocked to know that Northern Cape actually has coastal side. It's got, beaches that are beautiful, that they can come here. And when we had hard lockdown where beaches were not allowed, Northern Cape was allowed. But we did not see the traffic that we expected to see into the province.
Let's talk about the reason we are where we're at is because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's the tourism industry is particularly hard hit. People didn't have income for months. Many did not get relief from your department as that was given. But in terms of yesterday you mentioned that in terms of the vaccination that we want the herd immunity so that people can actually have that confidence to come back to South Africa. But you also mentioned that you are advocating for tourism operators to also form part of phase 2 of the vaccine program.
Yeah, we actually looking at that because remember, when people come from countries, and this is the message we are getting from our partners, from Tourism Business Council of South Africa, and together with the people who are in our source markets, the question they are asking is that if I'm vaccinated, I come to your country, and then I get to interact with a tour guide who is not vaccinated, will I be safe? So what we are getting as a message is that I would feel comfortable as a traveler when I come to your country and I know that I will interact, for example, with a traveler, a guide, or a frontline staff in a hotel who is vaccinated. And that we believe that if we do that, then we'll be able to build confidence. So our message and our work is also to contribute towards the IMC that is sitting, led by the Deputy President, to say, for economic recovery, there are sectors that we must pay attention to with the people who are frontline in those sectors as part of the economic reconstruction and recovery plan, to be able to resuscitate those sectors, and where it's possible, get some of this sectoral, what we would call frontline in those sectors, into phase 2 of rollout, so that we build. It's not about only just herd immunity in the community, but just to build confidence as we recover while we are rolling out. We are not yet finalized at that. We are hoping that as soon as possible, these considerations will be made by the NCCC and together with the IMC led by the Deputy President.
Talking about vaccination and all things COVID-19, the Health Minister already said we are expecting a third wave sometime just after the Easter holidays. How are we preparing for that?
My message,
from your point of view.
Yes, my message to the sector is that let's remain working together, let's remain vigilant, make sure that our attractions do not become the center of spreading, because we know over time that there's been expectation that this is how we will be hit. If you remember, first wave, we expected high numbers, but because we were cautious, we worked together as South Africans, we were able to almost get the numbers lower than what was anticipated. Similarly, we are calling, not only in the tourism space, but South Africans, to say, guys, please help us. Tourism needs you. These are people's businesses. These are livelihoods. These are jobs. If you become irresponsible to the point that when we get hit by third wave, then the numbers are extremely high. We believe in the tourism space that we can't afford your hardcore lockdown, because we will perish as tourism. And that's why we need all South Africans to help us, so that the numbers in the third wave are not worrying, are not going to warrant for National Command Council to shut down the tourism sector. And that's what I'm saying. But to the tourism sector as well, I say you need to always be, in terms of your plan, understand that when the risk goes higher, there will be restriction. So prepare for that. Now let's start thinking about how do we make our operation function should we have the level of restrictions that are coming back. Currently, let's make utilize of this opportunity with the Easters. Let's make sure that we go out, we make sure that the bookings are done, people can come and enjoy. And in that way, we'll have some level of cushion in these 2 months, which is March and April, at least within the Easter period, so that when we hit by, lockdown after the third wave, at least would have seen. And anyway, it will be towards winter, which is not really our peak season. So we're hoping that we can work together so that when we get to August again, like we did last year, we can see some reopening and more activities fully operation. My prayer and my wish is that when we come to August, at least we have level 1 again.
Minister, finally, you've been to a few sites here in the Northern Cape. You've been to Transfrontier Park, you've been to the Uppington area, and today you're at Ochrabis. What's your favorite?
My favorite is here now. I think Ochrabis does it for me. It's wonderful. It's breathtaking. I mean, the sound, if you look at what is happening here, the sound of the water, it's nature's beauty. This is what is beautiful about our country, our attractions, diverse, something out of this world. So Ochrabis in the Northern Cape takes thumbs up for me.
Thank you very much, Minister. And that was the Tourism Minister, of course, talking about the recovery of the tourism industry, especially here in the Northern Cape. She's saying that tourism operators and tourism businesses should focus on domestic tourism, because while the borders are open, they do not really expect international tourists to come here and not to recover to the levels that we seen pre-COVID-19. Blaine?
Brother Hendriks, you and Tapelo are so blessed to live in such a beautiful part of South Africa. We thank you very much indeed for your reporting there. Ulrich Hendriks, live for us in the Northern Cape.